Museo de Berlín. Pocos han logrado descifrar este antiguo lenguaje. Uno de ellos es Zecharia Sitchin.
El legado textual y pictórico recibido de los sumerios hace 6.000 años describe un pueblo que venía de un planeta llamado Neberu. Y según muchas de las imágenes, eran altos, como un tercio más que el ser humano medio. Eran gigantes.
Este sello cilíndrico de un museo de Berlín es sorprendente por varias razones. Muestra nuestro sistema solar con el Sol en el centro y los planetas a su alrededor. Un hecho que se descubrió en Europa hace solo 300 años. También está el planeta Plutón, que no se descubrió hasta 1930. Además aparece otro planeta que los sumerios llamaban Neberu, y del que venían, según ellos, los Ananoki o gigantes celestiales.
Si miramos las tres figuras que aparecen aquí, parecen del mismo tamaño. Pero teniendo en cuenta que este es un dios y que está sentado, si se observa desde la rodilla a la cadera, se descubre que mide más de 3 metros. Es un gigante, de los que llegaron del cielo a la tierra.
Al buscar huellas de vida extraterrestre, los astrónomos han sondeado los confines del universo. Quizá deberían haber buscado más cerca de casa. Porque en nuestro sistema solar se ha detectado una misteriosa estrella cerca de donde los sumerios situaban a Neberu, planeta de los Ananoki. Para los creyentes es la prueba concluyente de que los gigantes celestiales existen.
El texto sumerio, a grandes rasgos, nos dice que hace más de 400.000 años los Ananoki llegaron del espacio y aterrizaron en el valle del Tigris-Éufrates. Empezaron a montar una colonia llamada Edén.
Según el Génesis, en Edén o Edén, Adán fue creado a partir del polvo y Eva de una de sus costillas. Pero hay una versión tecnológica sobre el origen de la vida.
Al necesitar mano de obra, la evolución dio un salto y recurrió a la ingeniería genética.
Mezclaron el esperma de un Ananoki con óvulos de un humanoide primitivo, de uno de los hombres prehistóricos, cuyos restos están apareciendo en África, la famosa Lucy, y produjeron un híbrido que se convirtió en Cromañón, el hombre moderno.
Según la leyenda, cuando los Ananoki volvieron miles de años después para ver cómo iba su artesanía genética, las hembras humanas les parecieron muy atractivas.
Comienza en la Biblia, donde se ve desde su inicio, con Moisés, que cuando los hijos de los dioses vieron a las hijas del hombre, las desposaron. De sus úteros nacieron gigantes.
Tan destructivos eran los titanes que los padres Ananoki decidieron aniquilarlos. El libro apócrifo de Baruch nos dice incluso cuántos gigantes murieron.
Según el libro de Baruch, el Señor creó el diluvio. Destruyó toda la vida de la tierra, incluidos los 409.000 gigantes.
Según parece, algunos titanes sobrevivieron. Pero su reinado en la Tierra se acabó y los humanos se convirtieron en la especie dominante. Pero los gigantes viven en nuestra memoria, como algo arraigado desde el principio de nuestra existencia. Para algunos es más que un simple recuerdo. Quizás son los que nos informan de un número creciente de gigantes saliendo de los ovnis. Estos creyentes aseguran que los Ananoki, o gigantes celestiales, van a volver.
Hawati Entawi, Tem Jafar Kau, Tarpen Mawef, Muef, Taif, Sem F, Menemenet F Nebet, Hayat Nebet, Henenet Nebet, Jedafuet F, Awet F, Haset, Samawu M Sanut.
$3,500 years ago, during the reign of King Thutmose III, ancient Egypt was invaded by spherical UFOs, which were described as circles of fire. According to ancient papyrus, these spherical UFOs filled the sky for several days. In his fascinating book, British author Matthew Deleuze shows photos of strange alien reptiles, some with the bodies of apes and heads of lizards. These can be found on the walls of the Temple of Hathor at Dendera in Egypt. Here we see reptilian humanoid creatures alongside pharaohs and bird-headed beings. Strange giant light bulbs, possibly some form of plasma beam weapon, can clearly be seen at the Temple of Hathor. Inside these strange devices there are serpents. This is possibly a pictorial message that this alien plasma technology was given to the elite of ancient Egypt by a serpent or reptilian race of aliens. Like the Antikythera mechanism from ancient Greece and the Baghdad battery, this plasma technology was a closely guarded secret technology reserved for the use of the elite in ancient Egypt. Just as we see today, the royal political elite have secret underground bases harboring secret stealth technology and flying saucer type craft. ancient than the Mayan kingdoms of Central America, older than ancient Greece, and predating the pharaonic dynasties of Egypt. The Sumerian Empire was formed more than 6,000 years ago, stretching from the Indus Valley region in Pakistan to the capital called Uruk. Sumeria is known as the cradle of civilization. It was here that white-skinned peoples from the Caucasus Mountains spread a worldwide cult of blood ritual and magic to the rest of the world. Two authors, Zechariah Sitchin and the British genius John Marco Allegro, who translated large parts of the Dead Sea Scrolls, studied ancient Sumerian clay tablets, which were discovered at Nineveh in the 1800s. These clay tablets told the history of the Sumerian Empire, an empire which was formed by invading aliens called the Anunnaki. Sumer's original name was Ki-en-Gir, which means the land of the kings with blazing rockets. The Sumerian clay tablets describe the Anunnaki aliens genetically manipulating mankind and creating a hybrid race of alien reptilian humans who became known as the Nephilim. The Nephilim are also known as the Elohim in the Bible. This was a genetically created race of rulers which had their human DNA mixed with that of the invading Anunnaki aliens. References to this race of alien hybrid rulers can be found in ancient texts from around the planet. The Sumerian Empire was the place where Zoroastrian, Hindu, and Judaic religions all began. The hybrid alien-human rulers became known as the Zazumin, Rephaim, and the Anakim. The world's most famous author on the subjects of the occult and human consciousness is David Icke. In his books, The Biggest Secret and Tales from the Time Loop, David Icke reports that blood sacrifice was an important part of ancient cultures in Babylon and also in Central America. In the legends of Babylon, the kingdom of ancient Iraq, which supplanted Sumeria, the drinking of human blood and the sacrifice of children was performed to please the alien gods who had invaded from the stars. The ancient ruling elite believed that drinking human blood allowed them to absorb human DNA from their ancestors. The Vatican continues this ancient blood-drinking ritual to this day with the symbolic drinking of the blood of Christ. David Icke claims blood-drinking rituals have been performed by members of the royal political elite throughout history. Professor John Mack of Harvard University made a detailed study of people who claimed they had been abducted by aliens. In his book, John Mack studied abductees who said that the grey alien is actually a genetically engineered reptilian who invade planet Earth on a regular basis and collect human DNA as part of a plan to breed an alien-human hybrid race who will serve an extraterrestrial elite. According to Colonel Philip J. Corso, back-engineered alien technology is a jealously guarded secret by the rulers of mankind. The elite use the international network of secret societies to honor and control the government and military officials who work on secret projects for the elite. In fact, the oldest secret society known to mankind was formed in ancient Babylon and is called the Brotherhood of the Snake. The ruling elite of ancient Egypt fashioned their bodies so that they resembled aliens. All over ancient Egypt, serpents, snakes, and reptiles are associated with kingship and power over the human population. New kings had their bodies massaged with a special potion which contained crocodile fat. This was a worldwide cult of the crocodile, a reptilian species which has kept its original form since before dinosaurs walked on land. The crocodile is pictured alongside the Wangina creator spirits of Western Australia. Reptiles have always been associated with a race of hidden masters. Many occult traditions which are related to the birth of Freemasonry speak of the hidden masters. Some occult historians and authors claim that a group of hidden masters control world international Freemasonry. Ancient Masonic texts suggest that these hidden masters are in actual fact alien spirits from another world. Some Masonic texts say that the secrets of how to control and influence society and politics from behind the scenes was passed to the elite of Freemasonry from a race of reptilian aliens who invaded planet Earth and landed in ancient Iraq more than 12,500 years ago. In the summer of 2005, I saw a documentary that was broadcast on the BBC. It had been made in Canada by Sarah Goodman and been funded by a Canadian broadcast company. It won Best Documentary. Quite frankly, the people that put this film together deserve more than just a Best Documentary prize. They deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, because this movie, its original title is Build Me Up, Build Me Down, showed in the aftermath of 9/11 that the Pentagon were basically taking in recruits, basically their children, and brainwashing them in these army camps and turning them into ill-equipped, immature killing machines.
Lopez, stop. Lopez, stop now. Did you say something, Lopez?
Now, at one point in this film, we see a sign saying infantry, and of course infant is a child. And we hear on the soundtrack this whole group of trainees shouting, "I want to kill somebody." How does that fit in with democracy? How is it democratic to use taxpayers' money to train children to shout at the tops of their voices, "I want to kill somebody"? That's not democratic. If they shout, "I want to defend somebody," yes, that's democratic. But "I want to kill somebody," that is demonic. Well, if you want to search for the Antichrist, I suggest you start at the Pentagon. Now, if you look at a satanic pentagram, every Masonic lodge and every church of Satan somewhere in the building has a five-pointed satanic pentagram. And if you look at the satanic pentagram, in the center of the pentagram, you see a pentagon. And the Pentagon building itself is a grandiose piece of occult architecture. And the United States, and indeed many cities around the world, are full of occult buildings. The Pentagon is orientated towards the north. This, traditionally in magic terms, is the point on the compass where the god of war, or the spirits of war, are invoked, at the north point of the compass. If you look at an aerial picture of the Pentagon, you'll see that it's a pentagon, inside a pentagon, inside a pentagon, inside a pentagon. And this is symbolic of the way secret societies set themselves up with an outer circle of members, and then you have the inner circle, and then you have the inner core. Washington, D.C. is a fascinating place to explore once you've learnt the signs and all the symbols of Freemasonry and satanic groups such as the OTO. What Washington, D.C. is fashioned after an Egyptian necropolis. And an Egyptian necropolis in the ancient era of Egypt, the Pharaonic dynasty of Egypt. An Egyptian necropolis is a temple for the dead. And what Washington, D.C. is a modern version of an ancient Egyptian temple for the dead, but this is now a temple of death. And if you want to look for satanic inspired architecture, look no further than the Washington Monument. It's proportioned after the giant obelisks of Egypt, and its height above ground is 555 feet. But it's anchored, obviously, into the ground just over 100 feet deep. The foundation runs 111 feet, about 20% of the height of the overall building above ground. If you add 20% onto 555, you end up with 666. The Washington Monument is 666 feet in totality. The other aspects of Washington, D.C. are typically Masonic. The small roads within the parklands surrounding the White House have been exposed by David Icke and many other authors as making up the shape of an owl, which is the symbol of Bohemian Grove in California, the Bohemian Club. An owl sitting on the top of a pyramid, and of course the pyramid is one of the symbols that was used by the Bavarian Illuminati. And the whole of Washington, D.C. is this modern temple for death. And the death management center is the Pentagon. The Book of Revelation warns of an age of destruction, where planet Earth will be writhing in pain like a mother giving birth. The Book of Revelation prophesies the birth of the Antichrist, who will emerge to wield great political power across the planet. The plan of the Antichrist is very simple: famine, plague, war, total annihilation of all living creatures. There will not be just one Antichrist. The ancient texts of Islam warn us that the Antichrist, as foretold in the Quran, in which the Antichrist is called the Dajjal, will be assisted by many minor Antichrists. These minor Antichrists, or Dajjals, herald the era of the great Dajjal, the supreme Antichrist, the premier son of Satan, who will spread terror in the name of peace. Still, to this day, it is unclear who exactly wrote the Holy Bible. But in the Bible texts, we see that the Antichrist will seek to kill the coming second Messiah. This will be done, apparently, by mass killings of children around the world. Famine, pestilence, plague, and war will be used to kill thousands of children each day. In actual fact, before our very eyes, every day 26,000 children die from starvation and preventable diseases such as the common cold. Politicians are advancing a global plan, the plan of the Antichrist. This is the doctrine of Lucifer, which Freemasons, Knights Templar, and members of the Illuminati global network of secret societies follow. Their goal is the total spiritual and ecological destruction of the world. They use advanced technology to spy on and kill whoever gets in their way. The Illuminati is a global network of witch covens, black magicians, and Freemasons. They use a secret code of numbers and words to communicate the plan to one another. They hold rituals right in the heart of the British Parliament and Washington, D.C. The Illuminati have designed the United States as the headquarters for their barbarous plan to bring about the apocalyptic prophecies of the Antichrist. This film is the true story of the Luciferian elite, the true history of the ancient Illuminati, who have created a global fascist dictatorship. This is the true plan of those who serve the Antichrist. Once you have learnt the techniques used by the Illuminati-controlled media and understood the significance of their rituals, you will have the power to stop the Antichrist conspiracy.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322. Before we go, you and George Bush were both members of Skull and Bones, the secret society at Yale. The rule is, if someone mentions Skull and Bones, you walk out of the room. If you're both in a you're both in a presidential debate, and the moderator says Skull and Bones, do you both leave the podiums?
I doubt it.
You'll hang in there.
I think you'll see both of us have a terrific... You know, I'd love to have a debate with the president right now.
If this were a dictatorship, it'd be a heck of a lot easier. Just so long as I'm the dictator, 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 I'm the dictator.
This evilarchy does exist. And that the eye on the pyramid is the eye not only of Horus, but the eye of Lucifer. And if you take a look at the symbology in London, you take a look at the Illuminati Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas, you take a look at structures all over the world, they have told us what they are doing. They have identified themselves. We are identifying the enemy. We have identified the enemy.
New World Order. Billions of people on planet Earth are living in ignorance. Before your very eyes, politicians are advancing a global plan. Since the time of Napoleon, secret societies have been influencing politicians to take over and conquer Europe. Now, in the 21st century, their work of ages is coming to fruition. The New World Order is about the centralization of power. It's about silencing any public criticism of the system. It's about commercializing and selling everything as a product. It's about letting China torture students and still allowing them to host the Olympics. It's about closing down government-owned schools and hospitals, turning them into apartments, and then letting private companies make profits from teaching your children or selling you drugs. The secret societies and political organizations running the New World Order use various symbols and numbers. Once you learn their secret language, you too will have the all-seeing eye.
Let it begin.
So shall we proceed once again this night?
So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, a new world is emerging. It is a new world order.
A new world order.
Estamos al borde de una recesión global, advirtió este jueves el titular del Fondo Monetario Internacional, Dominique Strauss. Muchos en el mundo están hablando de algo raro, extraño, el establecimiento del llamado nuevo orden mundial.
El candidato presidencial de la Coalición por el Cambio, Sebastián Piñera, se reunió en París con el mandatario francés Nicolas Sarkozy. Allí conversaron sobre la necesidad de impulsar un nuevo orden.
¿Cómo participamos cuando se junten a ver cuáles van a ser las nuevas reglas del mundo que va a emerger después de esta crisis?
Debemos entender que solo podremos superar la mayoría de los problemas globales, la crisis económica, el cambio climático, la lucha contra la pobreza, mediante soluciones globales basadas en la cooperación y no en el aislamiento.
Ni más ni menos un nuevo orden mundial. Esa es la promesa de los más poderosos.
Está emergiendo un nuevo orden mundial, una era progresista de cooperación internacional. Hemos decidido que de aquí en adelante vamos a manejar la globalización.
Quiero afirmar que España es un país comprometido con el multilateralismo, con la necesidad de seguir articulando un sistema de gobernanza global, de gobernanza global, de gobernanza global.
¿Será acaso este el principio del nuevo orden mundial?
Nuevo orden mundial, un solo gobierno, una sola religión, un solo banco, una sola persona que controle a todo el mundo.
Anda usted por el mundo, lo único que se habla es de las nuevas atribuciones del Fondo Monetario Internacional, el nuevo rol del Banco Mundial.
Un banco central que se está consolidando y que es un banco que va a controlar el dinero de todo el mundo. Un único banco para todos.
Busquemos una moneda común que nos alcance a todos.
And therefore, this is it, international currency.
And one of the ways it will drive the change is through global governance.
Will recover some kind of world governance. I know that these are big words,
But let me be a little bit more specific. At Copenhagen, this December, weeks away, a treaty will be signed. Your president will sign it. Most of the third world countries will sign it because they think they're going to get money out of it. Most of the left-wing regimes around the world, like the European Union, will rubber stamp it. Virtually nobody won't sign it. I have read that treaty, and what it says is this, that a world government is going to be created. The word government actually appears as the first of three purposes of the new entity.
2009 is also the first year of global governance, with the establishment of the G20 in the middle of the financial crisis. The climate conference in Copenhagen is another step towards the global management of our planet.
A new world order.